Hey everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. I'm happy to have you here with me today. Today we are out in the garden and we are going to be harvesting seeds, tons and tons of different kinds of seeds. It is October 3rd today and it's a little bit late for us for harvesting seeds. Normally I like to have my seeds harvested by the second week of September because we usually get a lot of rain in September and you really want to harvest when your seeds are nice and dry. However, this September and now into October, we have had the most gorgeous weather I think we have ever had at this time of year. It has felt like summer actually, and it still does today on October 3rd. It is absolutely beautiful outside, super warm, sunny, and just lovely, and we haven't had any rain to speak of, which means that the seeds are just perfect for harvesting. So it's been a little bit of a weird year in the garden for temperatures. I've mentioned this a few times in my last couple of gardening videos. But one of the things I can say about it is that from about the end of June, it was cold up until the end of June, really, really cold, unusually so. But from the end of June all the way until now, it has actually been absolutely perfect gardening weather. Tons of heat, lots of sun interspersed with lots of wonderful rain. So my garden has done better than it ever has before. We garden in a zone 3B here with a very short season. So we usually have frost at the end of May, sometimes into June like this year, and then frost at the end of August and a hard frost usually by mid-September. So it's a very short season. And for the most part, I haven't been successful at having seeds actually mature out in the garden and harvesting them from the garden. What I normally have to do with any seeds that I harvest is bring either the entire plant in the house and hang it to dry, or bring the seeds and dry them in the house, which isn't ideal and really does seem to impact germination. It's much better for them to mature and dry outside. I'm not going to be harvesting any of the sunflower seeds out of the garden. We've already harvested all the seeds that we need from down in the high tunnel. I did grow a couple of sunflowers down in the high tunnel. Well, they were actually volunteers. They just came up from last year. So we harvested those seeds. All of the other sunflowers that are in my garden will all be left for the winter birds. This is what a lettuce plant will look like when it's bolted and then flowered. So these flowers were yellow and then they kind of turn into almost what looks like little baby dandelions like this. And all you have to do is pull these fluffy bits off and there you have the seed. Normally what I'll do is grow a couple of lettuce plants in here and there's enough heat in the greenhouse that they will form seed, but these actually form seed outside. So we're gonna start with collecting tons and tons of lettuce seeds. And I'm not too concerned with cross-pollination on these because I do only grow a couple of different varieties of lettuce. So let's just quickly talk about cross-pollination. When it comes to seed saving, one of the things that you do need to consider with most plants is cross-pollination. So if you are going to say harvest lettuce seeds, you're going to want to make sure that you grow one type of lettuce for the seeds that you're going to want to save, and any other plants that bolt, you want to pull those out of the ground. It doesn't mean you can't grow a lot of different varieties of lettuce. It just means you can't save seed from the same patch of lettuce from different varieties of lettuce unless you don't care about cross-pollination. Cross-pollination will produce a hybrid, which will be a hybrid between the two parent plants. And that's not always a terrible thing, and in fact, that's how many cool hybrids are developed. If I was to be in a position where I wasn't able to buy seeds for some reason, then I would be much more careful about making sure that I isolate the plants that I want to save seed from. Okay, some of the other seeds that we are going to save are poppies. Generally, you want to wait until the tops of the poppies are fully dry like these ones are. And could you hold this for me, honey? Try to hold it as still as you can. So if you take the top off of the poppy, hi Maple, and then you dump it out in your hand, those are, let's put it this way, that is what poppy seeds look like. They're so tiny, hey? So we're gonna harvest a whole bunch of these ones. This plant is called honeywort and the bees really, really love it. So I would like to plant some of these again next year. And fortunately, the seeds are really easy to harvest from these. Let's see if I can find some with one hand here. That is a honeywort seed right there. So we're going to save some of these. I'll plant them for my bee friends. This is abundance kale. So these are what the flowers look like. So they're very similar to a broccoli flower. and then they'll form pods like this. And then if you can wait until the pods are perfectly dry, as this one is, and then split it open, and the little black seeds, as you can see there, it is quite hot, isn't it? Will come out like so. I am really happy because this is my favorite variety of kale, and I can no longer find these seeds anywhere. And I thought that potentially they were hybridized, which means they wouldn't breed true, but I've been collecting seeds and planting them from my own seed for the last couple of years, and they have been breeding true, which is really exciting. So we are going to collect all of these up. This is a scarlet kale here from the other side of the garden, so they don't cross-pollinate, hopefully. And we left it in the garden so that it would send up its flowers the following year, which is how biennials work. And we were able to get some seed, which is great, because this one last year I wasn't able to find, no, it was the year before that I wasn't able to find any scarlet kale seeds when I wanted them. So very happy to have my own. Sweet peas are the same as any pea or bean. Really try to let them dry on the vine if you can. And you want to try to get them before they do start to mold. So that's perfect. I love these seeds, they're so pretty. Oh dear, quite a few of these have already burst open on their own. So what would happen if you were to leave these on here? This is a good example, is they'll actually split open themselves. This is a sweet pea, and then they'll unravel and the seeds will fall out onto the ground around where the plant was, and then they'll try to grow again the following year. So I should have actually harvested these ones a while ago, because as you can see, quite a few of them have opened up, but I'll get enough for next year anyway. So what I'm going to do, just to expedite the process, is pick the pods, and then I will take all the seeds out in the house later. So I will leave this here and see if any of the seeds that they dropped, because there's quite a few seeds in this planter, will grow up next year on their own. That'd be kind of neat. On Facebook Marketplace, a couple of months ago, we found a skating rink, a huge skating rink that someone had in their yard that they wanted taken down and removed. So over the last couple months, we have been doing that, and Dan just went and got the final pieces of it today. We are going to use it for a skating rink and a riding arena for the girls. And I just heard him drive up with the rest of it. So that'll be a project as we put it back together. Over the next couple weeks, I'll bring you along with us because it's going to be so much fun. It's huge, so it's going to make a fun winter activity for the kids. So there we go. So now this is all cleaned out. Pat it down and see if it'll send up some new ones in the spring. Maybe I'll just plop this into the greenhouse.
Zappa and I just invented the best way to do this. You pull a branch down full of these dry pods.
Yeah. And
you crumple them together so that most of the halves will fall down with the seeds falling out of them.
Oh, like you're just taking all the tops off and then the seeds are in the sweater?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at all those. Okay, that's a really good idea. I like it. There is absolutely no need to save seeds off of borage. Borage will willingly self-seed all over your garden. Do keep that in mind if you plant it. I have only ever planted it once, and I have hundreds and hundreds of these come up in my garden every spring that we end up having to pull out, and we still end up with hundreds again the next year. This is my zinnia patch, my beautiful zinnias that are no more. However, there are thousands of seeds in here that we can collect and then plant an equally beautiful patch next year. Collecting zinnia seed could not be easier. This part is where the seeds are, and all you have to do is pull them out. And there you go, tons and tons of seeds. So I want even more zinnia patches in the garden next year. So I'm going to pick a ton of these seed.
There's one. Only a tiny bit though. Also, that's good.
These are kind of perfect as far as harvesting goes. because they're super dry. If your seeds have any moisture in them when you pick them, make sure you don't put them in a bag. Lay them out and wait till they're totally dry before.
This one I just picked has moisture.
Yeah, if it has moisture, we won't put it in the bag. Okay.
This one was purple and it's a biggie.
Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, these ones are still wet though, so we'll have to put these in something separate, but that is a beautiful zinnia. Look at all the abundance kale that the girls picked, all those seeds. There's a lot of seeds. Nice job, you guys. Can you go get a separate bag that we can put the damp seeds in so that we can lay them out in the house?
The one that claimed it was.
So do you remember what's the difference between an annual and a perennial?
An annual, I'm pretty sure, is one that won't come back, and then perennial will come back.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. And things that are annuals in some places, like a lot of flowers are here, are actually perennial in other places. Or it's cool or it's warm enough that when they drop their seed, they just come back again the next year. Here we have to plant.
This is like purple and red.
Most annual flowers every year. I have a pretty good asparagus patch, and Oliver was telling me that he had harvested some seeds from the asparagus patch, and he was right, he had. So these are what the little berries look like, and then the seeds themselves that are inside of those berries look like that.
Shiny black.
Shiny black. So let's definitely save some of those. Is calendula. So this is a medicinal flower, and the calendula seeds could not be easier to grow. Just let your flowers go to seed, and these are the seeds right here, and they're kind of, I'll show you, like curly like this. They'll all be all different sizes and all different shapes. That's okay. They will all grow. So we are going to collect a whole ton of these too for the same reason. This patch here will probably have some calendula come up in the spring, because it does self-seed, not super readily, but it does.
Oh, I only brought 5 down.
Yeah, we're probably gonna need. These tomatillos still look fantastic, and there are tons of them. So this is another oddity. Normally we can't grow. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Normally we can't grow tomatillos outside here, or they don't size up anyway. But this year has been an odd year, and we have tons of tomatillos. Oh, this one I can see. This is frost damage here, so I could just cut that chunk off and still use this, but since I have so many, I won't worry about that. In order to seed save from plants like tomatillos and tomatoes, what you need to do is actually, you can see all the seeds in there, is you take this out, you scrape all this pulp out, and you put it with just a little bit of water in a cup and cover it with some saran wrap for a couple of days and let it ferment for a few days. And then you can actually rinse out all the seeds, all this stuff will kind of wash off, and then let your seeds dry out, and you can save seeds from things like tomatillos and tomatoes. Beans are another one of those ones, like I mentioned with the sweet peas, that you do want to let dry on the pod if you can. And normally, again, that's not something that I can do. Although this year, being that strange year it's been, I have been able to. And for all the seeds that I did harvest that weren't fully dry, I just put them on a plate and they just dried out within about a week, and then I put them into storage. Do make sure your seeds are perfectly dry before you put them in any kind of closed container. Hey Quen, come with me, let me show you something beautiful. Pick one of these ones right here.
That one.
Yeah, pick this one right here. And open it up. Do you want me to take what's in your other hand?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't those beautiful? You can eat them, but these ones we're going to save for planting next year. Those ones are called Emperor Scarlet Runner beans. Look at those. Are not those beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
That is a Scarlet Runner seed. Really beautiful. So you can pull off, Quen, any of the pods that are like this, that are dry. You can pull those off, and we'll collect seeds from them. You put them right in the bag.
Can I open them?
Yep, you can open them. Here, I'll make a pile for you right there. Thankfully, echinacea is perennial, and so you only actually need to plant the seed once, and then they'll keep coming back year after year after year. If you do want to collect seeds from these, you do need a really long season. The seeds will form up in this area, and you'll be able to pull them out similar to the other flowers I was showing. These are, of course, nowhere near ready. Any that are close? I don't think so. But fortunately, we don't have to worry about seed saving off of these guys because they'll come back. One tiny little green one. The elderberry are still ripening, which is amazing. So I know they look a little bit red, but when they're ready, they'll turn dark purple, like these ones in here, these dark purple ones, and they'll fall off pretty easily. So the way I've been harvesting these is actually just cutting off the flower here and throwing the whole thing into the freezer, and then you just kind of crunch up the bag with your hand once they're frozen, and all the berries come right off, and then you can just pull these stalks out. So we'll be making the elderberry syrup in probably the next video. Okay, now that we have that done, we're going to head up to the house and I'll show you everything that we harvested and talk a little bit more about the details. Just came back in the house and look what Oliver made. Is that not the most beautiful looking cinnamon bun? That's Dan, by the way, guys. That is my husband who says that he is planning to do some videos with me in the upcoming weeks, which is very exciting. Right, honey? When it comes to books, I have two recommendations, and they're actually quite different style of books. So depending on what you are interested in, that would determine which of these two books would be best for you. If you are really wanting to get into seed saving and you want to learn all the science behind it and all the nitty gritty, this would be what I would consider the seed saving Bible. This one's called Seed to Seed by Suzanne Ashworth, and it has basically every single thing you would ever need to know about seed saving. So this is a really good one. This other one might kind of seem like an odd recommendation, but I think it's fantastic, especially if you are relatively new to gardening. This one's called The 4-Season Farm Gardener's Cookbook. And there is a section in here on seed saving. So the first half of the book is more a gardening book. It talks about, let me see here, where is the index? Soil, the layout of your garden, what crops to grow, the crops and how to grow, make it easy. There's a section on making it easy, all about how to make gardening less intimidating. And then the last half of this is actually a cookbook. There's 120 recipes in this book that are specifically using food that you would grow in a home garden or get from a farmer's market. So this one is fantastic. I'll link both of these books down in the show notes below. So let's get into the seeds that we ended up getting from the garden. And I'll show you how I store these. It's super technical. I use Ziploc bags and then I write what is in each bag on them. I make sure that I do not put these in Ziploc bags until they are perfectly dry. You really want to make sure they're dry, otherwise they will mold. If you put them in a bag like this, you can also put them in like paper sandwich bags as well. I just find these a lot easier. So what do we have here? Well, I guess we can start with these ones. So these ones are the scarlet runner beans. Let's take them out of the bag. Look at that. So beautiful. Dark, dark, dark purple with the light pink on there, the light purple, just gorgeous. And then I've been trying to find some varieties of beans that I can dry for soup in the winter that would work here. These are two that are new to me. This one's called Jacob's Cattle Bean. Isn't that beautiful? Such a cool looking bean. And then this one, also beautiful, is called Calypso. Beautiful bean. So this is the entirety of my harvest right here of these beans, but I'll be planting all of these ones next year because they did actually really well, and they almost all of the beans actually dried out in the garden, which is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for short season beans that I can grow and then dry and then make soups in the winter that are going to work here in our short season. So far these ones are winners. We'll try them again next year. We have tons and tons and tons of zinnia. I plan on having a lot of zinnia in the garden next year. Same with the calendula. These are all the abundance kale seeds. If I can successfully grow these to be true to type over the next couple of years, then I'll probably start getting into selling these seeds, because I know a lot of you are interested in these ones, because I've been raving about them for years and years and years. Lettuce here. What else do we have? Oh, this one is really exciting. So this is another first for me. This is popcorn. This is called pink popcorn. It's obviously very small, but I learned a lot about growing corn this year, and I'm going to implement some new things next year for growing corn. So I am actually going to bring this over and try popping some of this for you to see if it's actually going to pop. So that's going to be exciting. The popcorn itself really needs to dry on the stalk. And I didn't realize that I could leave it on even when it was getting quite cold at night. So I pulled it off a little bit too early and then dried it in the house. And these kernels are itty bitty kernels. Look at how tiny these little kernels are. So we're probably going to get the smallest popcorn ever in history. But if we can actually get popcorn up here, I think that's going to be a huge win for us. And one of the things that I'm going to do is to make sure that I start my seeds early in the greenhouse and then use transplants out in the garden. Generally, corn doesn't like to be transplanted, but I did it this year and it worked just fine, and we ended up with decent corn. So if I could find some way to be able to actually grow popcorn in a zone 3B, I would be pretty excited about that. So these ones are pink popcorn. This is one from West Coast Seeds, and it's supposed to be a shorter season, so I will try these ones again next year, and maybe a couple of other varieties if I can find them elsewhere. Do you guys want to see?
Yeah.
If these are actually going to pop? Okay, let's do that.
Have you tested your cinnamon bun?
I have not. Do you want me to test my cinnamon bun?
Yeah.
Was it good?
It's like the perfect recipe, just needs more quantity. Huh?
So good.
That is, this tastes like a what's the word I'm looking for? A bakery, yeah, a bakery one. Okay, let's bring you over to the stove here. Oh, I can show you what I have going on in the kitchen while we're here. More sauce, which I know comes as a humongous surprise, but check out how many tomatoes we've actually got through. We only have this many tomatoes left that are still ripening in the house. We've managed to ripen and can all the rest of them, which is fantastic. I honestly thought I was going to have to make a ton of green tomato recipes, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need to. So I have that sauce, more tomatoes in here to run through the food mill to make into more sauce, and actually that's it. That's all we have going on in the kitchen right now. But now we're going to do popcorn. Yes. Do you want to try both? We could try using the popcorn maker.
Yeah, let's do both, and
okay.
then we'll see which
comparison.
one pops first.
Okay, let's use this pot.
How about I do half of half each, like separate the sides, and then.
Well, I wanted to save some of them though, okay, for planting for next year.
3,
Ready?
2,
1, go. No way!
So yeah, yours is gonna start soon.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Oh, look, the tiny little, whoa, it worked. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Look, it's popping. Yours definitely popped way better than mine did.
Air popper.
But that might, yeah, but that might have been just the lack of skill I have with doing that. Mine look kind of burnt. So let's dump them out.
Oil them.
Do you guys all want to try one? Do you want to try one, you guys?
I would try
Are they
that.
good, flavor-wise? Let's try.
Oh, you can tell.
We should add a little bit of oil.
It does taste better than this one, so.
Yeah, flavor's really good. This is the tiniest little popcorn I think I have ever seen. It's popcorn, just tiny. Look at that. Perfect little tiny popcorn. Do you guys use nutritional yeast on your popcorn? It's so good. It's our favorite way of eating popcorn. You gonna try one?
My favorite way, but
What's your favorite way? Cinnamon and sugar? What?
caramel and chocolate.
Caramel and chocolate?
Yeah, we did it once. Gotcha. And it was really good because it was like salty.
Stop. Oh my goodness. Trying to film around my children is challenging. They're so goofy. Okay, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. Okay, you monkeys, what do you want for dinner?